On the evening of May 2nd, 2017, 37-year-old Jason Crawford made a distressing call to 911 from his residence in Cullman, Alabama. He urgently reported that his wife, Tiffany, had sustained serious injuries in her van parked outside their home. Jason implored for an ambulance to arrive promptly. Upon the arrival of the first responders, who happened to be sheriff's deputies, they found 32-year-old Tiffany Crawford slouched in the driver's seat with a pink revolver in her left hand. Jason explained that his wife kept the gun in the driver's side door for protection. When a deputy tried to check Tiffany's pulse, the revolver slipped from her grip. The deputies probed Jason about the events leading up to the incident. He disclosed that he and Tiffany had a disagreement that evening. Jason prevented her from entering the house, asserting that she could no longer reside with him. He recounted that after he went inside, he heard a gunshot, a scream, and then another gunshot. Jason rushed outside to a distressing sight. Tiffany had sustained 2 gunshot wounds to her head, one to the left jaw and another to the left temple. The deputies harbored suspicions that Jason was concealing information, deeming it improbable that Tiffany could have shot herself twice. Despite the paramedics' efforts to revive her, Tiffany tragically succumbed to her injuries. Following Tiffany's demise, it emerged that Jason's mother, Rhonda Crawford, was employed as a secretary in the sheriff's office. She was among the first to be informed about the incident and relayed the devastating news to Tiffany's mother, Cheryl McGuckin. Jason was brought in for questioning at the police station, where he disavowed any involvement in his wife's passing, asserting that she had taken her own life. During the interrogation, Jason disclosed that Tiffany was right-handed, a detail that would later hold significance. The couple's past was scrutinized, revealing that Jason and Tiffany had crossed paths 6 years earlier, in 2011. Jason had already gone through a divorce and was raising his son on his own after leaving his first wife due to her infidelity. Tiffany, on the other hand, was married when they met, but she fell in love with Jason and left her husband to be with him. Jason believed it was love at first sight, describing Tiffany as outgoing, vibrant, and beautiful, which was a complete contrast to his own personality. The couple eventually got married, and together they raised Jason's son, Logan, and later had a son and daughter of their own. As their children grew older, Tiffany became more involved in the community. One night, she had a dream where she helped others, and upon waking up, she realized that it was her calling. Tiffany then created a Facebook group called Mothers Helping Mothers to provide emotional support to moms in need. The group gained popularity nationwide and attracted around 9,000 members from different cities. Tiffany's compassion and willingness to listen provided immense support to countless mothers facing challenges until her untimely death. The investigation into Tiffany's death was handed over to the Alabama State Bureau of Investigation. When they arrived at the scene to examine the van where Tiffany had passed away, they discovered that someone had already thoroughly cleaned the interior of the vehicle. It was later revealed that the sheriff's office, where Jason's mother worked, had given permission for the van to be cleaned, despite almost a day having passed since the tragedy. Jason claimed that he had cleaned the van himself to prevent their children from witnessing anything disturbing inside. During the investigation, it came to light that in the months leading up to her death, Jason had noticed changes in Tiffany's behavior. She had become distant and started drinking heavily. Jason suspected that she was having an affair. On the night of her death, just hours before the tragedy, Jason discovered messages on their home computer indicating that Tiffany was indeed involved with another man. He confronted her over the phone, but she denied any knowledge of the situation. Jason insisted that Tiffany urgently return home to have a face-to-face discussion about an important matter. Tiffany's mother, Cheryl, admitted that she had been aware of her daughter's affair for a long time. Before leaving to meet her husband, Tiffany reached out to Cheryl and shared her intention to confess to Jason about her new relationship. Tiffany's close friend was also aware of the secret affair and revealed that Tiffany had expressed her desire to leave Jason for her new partner. Tiffany had even taken a job at a grocery store to save money for her new life. She confided in Lindsay that she didn't want to hurt Jason and had no plans to reveal the affair, even if they were to get a divorce. On the fateful evening of May 2nd, Tiffany arrived home with their children around 10 p.m. Jason, however, refused to let her inside, and the children went upstairs to their bedrooms and fell asleep. Jason's older son, Logan, was awake inside the house. According to Jason, he confronted Tiffany about ruining their marriage, and they argued outside for nearly an hour. Jason insisted that Tiffany leave immediately, without considering where she would spend the night. Eventually, Tiffany managed to convince Jason to give her her work clothes. He went inside, retrieved the clothes, and threw them at his wife before returning to the house. The last words he heard from Tiffany were, "Jason, I love you." Detectives carefully reviewed Jason's call and noticed that he initially stated the revolver was next to Tiffany. However, he later changed his story, claiming that she was holding the gun when he found her. Jason consistently avoided answering questions about who had shot her, instead pleading for an ambulance. It wasn't until the interrogation that Jason revealed Tiffany's infidelity. Although Jason failed a polygraph test, his arrest was prevented due to a lack of evidence. He was subsequently released. Several weeks later, the results of Tiffany's autopsy confirmed that her death was a homicide. Jason Crawford's arrest and subsequent trial for his wife's murder was a lengthy and complex process. After a year of investigation and deliberation, he was taken into custody on May 21, 2018. However, he was released on bond within just 30 minutes. Throughout this entire ordeal, Tiffany's mother struggled to come to terms with her daughter's death. She refused to believe that Tiffany had taken her own life and found it difficult to accept the possibility of her son-in-law's involvement. Initially, Cheryl supported Jason and tried to justify his actions. During the trial, Jason's lawyers argued that there was no concrete evidence linking him to the crime. They pointed out that no blood was found on his clothing and criticized the police for failing to search the house or test Jason for gunshot residue. Furthermore, Jason's eldest son, Logan, supported his claim that he was inside the house when the shots were fired. The defense also emphasized that experts determined the gunshot wound to Tiffany's left temple occurred from a distance of at least 25 cm, suggesting that it would have been impossible for Jason to have fired the shot from inside the car with the door closed. However, forensic investigators noted the absence of blood on the interior of the driver's side door and window, indicating that the door was open during the shooting. This contradicted Jason's claim that the car door was closed. In November 2022, more than 5 years after Tiffany Crawford's death, Jason Crawford finally faced trial for her murder. Surprisingly, Tiffany's mother chose not to attend the hearings. During the trial, the prosecution argued that Jason's motive for the crime was rooted in jealousy and anger over his wife's infidelity. Jason, on the other hand, continued to deny any involvement. Although male DNA was found on the revolver's grip and trigger, it could not be definitively identified as Jason's. The defense suggested that Tiffany had received the gun from her father or brother. In an attempt to deflect suspicion, the prosecution claimed that Jason wiped the gun clean and planted it in Tiffany's left hand after the shooting. To challenge this narrative, the defense brought in Alabama's former chief medical examiner, who presented a differing opinion. He reached the conclusion that Tiffany had inflicted 2 gunshot wounds upon herself, one in the lower jaw, which was not fatal, and another in the left temple. Jason's legal team presented proof that Tiffany had sought help from a psychologist just days before her passing, admitting her struggles with emotional distress. Her close friends verified that she had been consuming alcohol excessively following the end of her affair with a married man who no longer wished to continue their relationship. Entries from Tiffany's diary were submitted as evidence and read aloud during the trial. A journal entry dated May 2, 2017, mere hours before her demise, unveiled Tiffany's inner conflict as she grappled with life decisions. During his final statement, Jason Crawford professed his love for Tiffany and refuted any accusations of wrongdoing. He acknowledged speaking harshly to her that fateful night, which may have contributed to her tragic actions. On November 18, 2022, the jury deliberated briefly before reaching a verdict. They found Jason Crawford guilty of the crime. He was handed a 99-year prison sentence, with the possibility of parole after 15 years in accordance with Alabama law. Following the verdict, Tiffany's mother, Cheryl McGuckin, finally acknowledged her former son-in-law's guilt after reviewing the evidence against him. She publicly condemned Jason during his sentencing hearing, expressing her belief in his responsibility. The heartbreaking tale of Tiffany Crawford's murder serves as a poignant reminder of the dire consequences of jealousy, infidelity, and uncontrolled emotions. It underscores the significance of addressing relationship challenges through honest communication and seeking assistance when necessary. When reflecting on certain tragic deaths, it becomes evident just how many individuals pass away without reaching their full potential. It is especially heartbreaking when we consider those who had the potential to shine brightly regardless of circumstances. This realization is truly devastating. In the case of Rada Atiyef, she was a prime example of this. Rada Atiyef was not just an ordinary model, she was an exceptionally beautiful individual. Despite her short life, she managed to showcase her talents to the world. The untimely end of her life was truly a sorrowful event. However, even her death was shrouded in controversy. Various parties have put forth their explanations, yet to this day, the exact cause of her tragic passing remains unknown. Rada Atiyef was a woman of exceptional qualities. While her beauty was captivating, it was her intellect that truly drew people to her. She was intelligent, curious, and ambitious, traits that set her apart. Born in May 1996 in the Maldives, Rada was a child who exuded charm, making her a magnet for those around her. It is clear why she captured the attention of many from a young age. Despite being raised in the Maldives without much international exposure initially, Rada chose to focus on her academic pursuits like any other girl. Her education at the Hiria School and Villa International High School marked the beginning of her journey to success. There's a familiar tale: when destiny beckons, it matters not where you reside, it will find you regardless. During her time in school, Rada graciously took part in an environmental campaign on the esteemed Maldivian national television at the tender age of 14. Little did she know that this single act would catapult her into the limelight, securing numerous modeling contracts and coveted gigs. With each job and campaign, Rada's prominence grew, but it was a particular photograph that truly thrust her into the spotlight. Aptly titled "Maldivian Girl with the Blue Eyes," this captivating image became an internet sensation, forever altering the course of her life. Curiously, Rada's ambitions extended beyond the confines of the modeling world. While she possessed an undeniable allure and a natural affinity for the camera, she yearned to make a difference in the lives of others. Moreover, her aptitude for the sciences was undeniable. Thus, it was an effortless decision for her to embark on a journey towards the field of medicine. Following her completion of high school, Rada was granted a prestigious scholarship to study medicine at the esteemed Islami Bank Medical College in Rajshahi, Bangladesh. The Department of Higher Education of Maldives generously provided her with a fully funded scholarship, and by 2014, she found herself in Bangladesh, fervently pursuing her dreams. After spending 2 fruitful years there, Rada had already set her sights on transferring to a renowned institution in Australia to complete her degree. The fact that her family had relocated to Australia only further solidified her decision, as she could now be in their comforting presence. At this juncture, Rada's unwavering focus on her medical career and academic pursuits seemed to have eclipsed her modeling aspirations entirely. However, fate had other plans in store, and once again, it beckoned at her door. In 2016, Rada graced the cover of Vogue India, an achievement of monumental proportions for any aspiring model. She shared this honor with 6 other remarkable young women from her homeland, commemorating Vogue's illustrious 9th anniversary edition. After the splendid magazine photoshoot was published, Rada once again found herself at the epicenter of the global modeling realm. Her phone incessantly buzzed with messages, and the floodgates of opportunities opened once more. It was an enchanting moment for Rada, as it appeared that every endeavor she embarked upon turned into pure gold. Her modeling career flourished, and she made remarkable strides in her medical pursuits as well. However, fate took an abrupt turn. On the afternoon of March 29, 2017, a concerned friend ventured into Radha's room to check on her. To her astonishment, the double doors were firmly locked and her knocks went unanswered. Curiously, the friend noticed a slender gap between the two door panels, prompting her to peer through it. What she witnessed was enough to send shivers down her spine, causing her to scream in terror. According to her account, she swiftly sought the assistance of other girls on the same floor, and together they forcefully broke down the door to Radha's room. There, they discovered Radha's lifeless body suspended from the ceiling fan, a delicate silk scarf tightly wound around her neck. The police were immediately summoned, and upon their arrival, they swiftly untangled Radha's body from the fan and placed her on the bed, her face turned upwards. It became evident that Radha had tragically departed this world some time ago. In a united effort, her friends and concerned floormates collaborated with the authorities to transport Radha's body to a hospital affiliated with the medical college, where a thorough autopsy was conducted. The authorities swiftly concluded that Radha had taken her own life, citing the profound marks encircling her neck as evidence. However, not everyone was convinced by this explanation. Leading the opposition was none other than Radha's father, Muhammad. Like the rest of Radha's family, Muhammad was in Australia when this devastating incident occurred. Upon his arrival in Bangladesh, he harbored a deep conviction that someone must have played a sinister role in his daughter's untimely demise. Muhammad posited that Radha's untimely demise was orchestrated by extremist Islamist terrorists, a claim rooted in compelling reasoning. The catalyst for his belief stemmed from the contentious nature of Radha's illustrious photo shoot with Vogue India. As a product of her Muslim upbringing, many individuals perceived her modeling career and subsequent photo shoots as a violation of the sacred tenets of modesty. Radha, hailing from a moderately secular Muslim family, remained unperturbed by these criticisms. However, for numerous devout Muslims, particularly those residing in Bangladesh, a predominantly Islamic nation, Radha's entire vocation served as a catalyst for outrage. Muhammad firmly believed that one or more individuals, or perhaps even a collective, within this community were responsible for this tragic incident. Furthermore, Muhammad emphasized that he had known Radha intimately throughout her life, attesting that she had never displayed any signs of despondency or inclination towards self-harm. Intriguingly, Muhammad disclosed that the autopsy conducted on Radha had been carried out without the explicit consent or authorization of the family. Despite the autopsy report's contrary claims, Muhammad remained resolute in his conviction that his daughter's demise was not a mere coincidence. So how can we ascertain the truth? Perhaps the answers lie within the confines of the crime scene itself. Radha was discovered suspended from her ceiling fan, yet upon closer inspection by experts, it became apparent that the fan would struggle to bear the weight of an individual of her stature. Radha, weighing a mere 55 kilos, would undoubtedly cause the fan to collapse if she were truly hanging from it. Additionally, the scarf found entwined around Radha's delicate neck was crafted from silk, a fabric known for its gentle touch. However, the deep and abrasive marks discovered on her body contradicted the supple nature of the scarf. And when it came to the crime scene itself, it became apparent that there were numerous indications of a fierce struggle. Notably, researchers discovered a substantial fracture in the glass tabletop, accompanied by another fracture in the hallway mirror. Furthermore, it is worth mentioning that a partially consumed cup of coffee rested upon Radha's stove, while a pot of curry simmered on the burner. If she truly intended to end her own life, why would she engage in culinary endeavors at such a time? To be frank, the speculations surrounding Radha's demise have been remarkably extensive. It appears as though everyone has something to contribute to this perplexing case, and as time goes by, the number of theories continues to grow. However, it seems that the prevailing theory suggesting Radha fell victim to an extremist group's assault has gained the most prominence. Prior to Radha's untimely passing, Bangladesh had become a breeding ground for extremist attacks. In fact, just a week before her demise, the college she attended was raided due to suspicions of its affiliation with local terrorist organizations. The raid resulted in the apprehension of 29 students and teachers. Radha, being a student and a model in a country where her recent photo shoot was perceived as a direct affront to their traditions and beliefs, may have become a target. Despite the authorities' investigations into Radha's death, tangible results were scarce. And although the initial outrage surrounding her passing was fervent, it eventually subsided with the passage of time. The most vocal advocate thus far has been Radha's father, who firmly believes that her friends must have had connections to extremist groups seeking retribution for what they perceived as an insult to their faith. Whatever the truth may be, the loss of Radha was undoubtedly a devastating blow, not solely because she was a model. In a grandiose homage orchestrated by Vogue, a resplendent tribute was bestowed upon Radha. The esteemed editor, responsible for the captivating shoot in which she graced the pages, extolled her unwavering commitment to the noble field of medicine and her altruistic endeavors in aiding humanity. Such was the magnitude of her dedication that even the mere act of contacting her for the shoot proved to be an arduous task. The editor revealed that they had to resort to reaching out to Radha through the vast realm of Facebook, and even then, she made it abundantly clear that her pursuit of modeling played second fiddle to her scholarly pursuits. If a photo shoot were to encroach upon her studies or prove to be an inconvenience, she would gracefully decline, irrespective of the prestigious agency extending the invitation. Such unwavering devotion is truly unparalleled. Could we have witnessed the extraordinary spectacle of a woman effortlessly embodying both the realms of a world-renowned model and a triumphant medical practitioner? Alas, the answer eludes us. However, what remains unequivocal is the heart-wrenching tragedy that befell Radha, leaving an indelible mark of sorrow upon our hearts.